Yeah, they were a really odd bunch, these ones that came for Passover this year. I don't quite know myself why I took them in. I do hope I'm not going to end up in trouble about this. There's no way I want to get caught in the middle of that, when all I did was let my room out to the last minute for some people wanting to celebrate Passover. None of this is my fault, is it? I knew it was going to get someone, of course. You're always supposed to eat the Passover meal within the city itself. So if, like me, you've got a large enough room, you can pretty much name your price. But for some reason it didn't work like that this year. Everyone that came and had a look round found something about it they just weren't quite sure about. Or they got a better offer. I couldn't understand it. It had always done well enough in the past. So when these Galileans appeared and told me the teacher wanted it, I showed them the room straight away and they seemed satisfied. And so was I. And they paid the right price. Who was this teacher they were going on about, though? Some sort of religious scholar, I supposed. Anyway, all was ready and in they came. 13 of them, enough to fill the room when they were all reclining at the table. Some bloke called Judas gave me the money, and I started to bring in all the necessary. I kept hearing bits and pieces of the conversation, and it confused me a bit to start with. They were getting a bit worried about something, and this teacher was saying about how someone was going to betray him. He didn't exactly say how. Maybe this person was going to find another teacher. But none of them wanted to think that it could be them. Then suddenly I realised who he was. He must be this Jesus, the one who's been going round stirring things up. I've had a lot of muttering about him. They reckon he's really got the priests and the Pharisees riled up. Now, me personally, I won't say a word against them. They've got their job to do, and it can't be easy having that sort of power. I certainly don't want them to think I'm opposed to them. I like living in Jerusalem, and the best way to stay here is not to get on the wrong side of the powers that be. Keep your head down, pay your temple tax, keep your mouth shut. That's the best way. I'm just going to have to hope that they never find out it was my upper room that they came to. After all, who would think that there was anything other than the normal Passover meal? He did something very odd, though, this Jesus. He made this Passover different. And in a lot of ways, it was actually really disturbing. To start with, he took the unleavened bread, the bread of affliction as we call it, said the prayer of blessing over it, and then broke it, and then he gave it to the others sitting at the table with him, and said something about it being his body. That was a bit alarming. But worse was to come when it got to the end, and the wine, the cup of blessing, was brought out. He said the blessing, got them all to drink, and said that it was his blood, poured out for many. Now I know myself that it was red wine. I poured it. But even if he was trying to make some sort of joke, he shouldn't have said that. You know what, we're not supposed to have anything to do with blood, that it's the life of all creatures and it belongs to God. We must never eat it or drink it. And so what Jesus was saying was scandalous. No good Jew would ever have anything to do with drinking even an animal's blood, never mind a man's. If he hadn't been close to the end of the meal anyway, I'd have thrown them out. The priests hear of that, and you're in big trouble. Anyway, they left soon after. Though there's a rumour going around that they didn't get very far, that Jesus has been arrested. I'm not sure why. I thought what he said was wrong, and in the worst possible taste. Was that enough to arrest him? I suppose if you've got the full might of the temple against you, they can always find a reason. Though I won't forget this Passover in a hurry. Let me tell you, body and blood indeed. It made it sound like he was going to be the sacrifice. And who ever heard of that happening?
Lord, you came to show us the cost of grace, your body and blood, in which we remember you with bread and wine. Encourage us, that we might find your mercy through these means of grace, and never forget what you have made possible for us. Amen.